Hi everyone, it's Tom Mackie. We're out on a January evening to disprove that even on grey days like this, you can still create some great images. So I'm back in my hometown of Norwich in England, and we're going to go down in the city centre to see what we can do for a blue hour shot. Okay, so we're set up here on Fishergate Bridge, and we've got this really lovely line of old buildings leading in with the reflection in the river. The cathedral's just popping up over the back. I can see the lights look like they're just coming on the cathedral now. But before we wait till the light levels drop a little bit, I can see there's a potential other shot here. These clouds are moving very quickly overhead, so I'm going to do a 30-second exposure with an ND filter. This is using a Lee little stopper, and I put a 3-stop grad over the sky just to balance out the exposure between the river and the sky. So let's go ahead and hit that. That'll give 30 seconds. What I'm trying to achieve here is this explosion of clouds kind of coming up over the buildings. I know they're going in the opposite direction, but it'll achieve the same result whether they're coming towards you or away from you. We are actually on one of Norwich's busiest roads, so excuse the background noise if you hear buses going by or whatever, but this is actually shaping up to be a really nice evening. There's some great clouds picking up color here, and we've got almost a full moon over the top. And let's go ahead and just make one more exposure. I'm going to do a 30-second exposure. Now that our clouds have dissipated and I don't have anything in the sky, but you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'm just waiting for the playback to come up on the screen, and we can check the histogram to see how our exposure looks. And there it is. Oh, that's nice. Yes, okay, we've got the explosion in the sky that I wanted. Let's check the histogram. Okay, the histogram's a little bit further to the left than I would like, so that was 30 seconds. I'm going to go to 45 seconds, maybe even a minute. Okay, so I've got my playback, and the histogram looks okay. I could probably even do a minute. That was about 48 seconds. But the effect that I'm getting in the sky is great. While I've got some clouds still coming in, I'm going to do another exposure at 1 minute. One thing to remember, when you're doing your exposures of, say, a minute, minute and a half, and then it's going to take a minute, minute and a half to write to the card, you're losing your light levels all the time. So you're having to increase your exposures on each exposure that you do. So I've just now exposed this for a minute and a half. Let's have a look to see. It's still writing. Okay, we'll look at it in just a second when it comes up. So that was a minute and a half exposure, and as I mentioned, the longer you do your exposures, you've got the right time as well to factor into it. The light levels are dropping as you're shooting. So even though I increased that to a minute and a half, my histogram is still a little bit over to the left, a little bit too much. But it's enough that I can pull it out. I mean, I'm using a Nikon D810. You can pull so much out of these files, it's unbelievable. So what I want to do now, the light levels are dropping enough now. I want to start doing my blue hour shot because I've got lights on the cathedral, and the lamps in front of the buildings are just starting to illuminate. So what makes the best subject for a blue hour photo? It can be anything, but what you're trying to create is this contrast between this deep blue sky and the ambient light. So it can be lights on buildings, it can be lights from cars going by, light trails, it can be anything like that, but you want that balance of the light. That's the main thing. So that's why I say earlier that there is about a 10-minute time period where the light is just right. Now, I'm getting to that point right now where the light is just right. Look at the sky. So this is quite light here right now, but it's getting darker. Let's try another exposure. Okay, so now you can see behind me, the sky is getting to that really nice deep blue. You might not be able to see it on your camera, but on my camera, that's how it's going to look. So I'm going to make another exposure. And by the way, I need to tell you that we're shooting at aperture priority. The reason for doing that is that it's always adjusting for the light levels as they're dropping. So it's increasing the exposure time, but it's keeping your aperture the same. So let's go ahead and make one more exposure. So the light levels are dropping now enough that we can get a really good exposure. And the nice thing is we have these clouds still moving through the sky, so we're getting two effects for the price of one. So we're getting that cloud movement to give that burst effect plus the blue hour effect. Now let's go ahead and have a look at what we have here. So I'm really happy the way this image has turned out. We've got some movement in the clouds, lovely light on the buildings, great reflection. So it's been a very successful night. I'm really happy the way this has turned out. Okay, so that includes our short video on how to photograph the blue hour, which reminds me of why I love shooting out in the wilderness, in the mountains. Don't have any of this extraneous. Do you love that music coming from the pub opposite? This is great background music, except for maybe the passing bus and so forth. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this and have a look at the pictures afterwards. And for more tips and advice, check out landscapephotographyiq.com.